I need you to let go and let me make your vision come to life. I like to think of myself as the fairy godmother that makes dreams come true.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the FSL Vendor Podcast. This is a space where wedding vendors, creatives, and event pros come together to talk about the real side of the wedding industry. We are on a mission to create memories that last a lifetime, and we're bringing the people behind those memories right here to the table. Welcome back to the FSL Vendor Podcast. My name's Hannah. I'm the CEO of Fusion Sound and Lighting, and our mission is to create memories that last a lifetime. Today, I have my co-host here, my husband, co-owner of Fusion, as well as headline DJ, Marcellus.
Hey.
And we are honored to sit down with Jill Gordon with Events by Candace Jill. Jill, tell us a little bit about your business.
My business is event planning and coordination, not just for weddings, but also retirement parties, baby showers. I do some corporate events, and my family has been in the wedding business for probably more than 40 years because my mother was a wedding planner.
Oh, that's cool.
So as a teenager, I have 5 girl cousins, and we were always doing weddings with our mom on a much smaller scale because most people got married in church and had their reception, obviously in the fellowship hall. Obviously now it's much bigger scale with the venues and everything. So been doing this for quite some time, and I love it.
Would you say it's your mom's background in weddings that got you started in it, or just being a part of your cousin's weddings more?
I can tell you that probably what made me go official with a website and social media was I was the soccer mom for my son's high school, middle school, and travel team, and the same for my daughter. Okay. And as the soccer players who called me Mama Jill started to get married, they started saying, because I coordinated tailgates for state playoffs for them and stuff. And they just said, Mama Jill, will you do our wedding for us? And I did a big wedding for one of my soccer players down at Providence Cotton Mill. And my daughter said, Mom, you need to do this officially. Yeah. You need to get your website. I'll do your website for you. We'll get your social media going. And so that's how it officially took off as Events by Candace Jill.
Nice.
That's awesome. And what did your career before weddings, or I guess still with weddings, look like outside of weddings?
Yeah, I work in finance. I work with a small firm in Winston, and I work on a team, and I don't give advice for what stocks that you should purchase. I'm actually doing the trading and everything.
Nice.
So.
Nice. And would you say that like your background in finance really helps you with the brides as far as like budgeting and planning their wedding?
100%. I certainly do give advice about it. I love to do a big wedding. I love to do a wedding that has a large budget, but not every bride and groom have a large budget.
Yeah.
So, there are certainly ways that I can recommend, for to be cost efficient for your wedding.
Did you have a question?
Before we get too deep into it, where are you based out of, and kind of how far out will you go?
Okay, there are no limits as to how far out I can go. I just recently was in the Mediterranean and last year in Paris, and I have scouted out several locations. If anybody ever wants to get married abroad, I can certainly do that. Awesome. I am located or based out of a little log cabin in Pilot Mountain that has been in my husband's family for quite some time, and have hosted several parties and events on my property there. But there's no limit. I've done a wedding at Biltmore. I've done at a homestead down in South Carolina, Eastern North Carolina. My kids are grown and off my payroll.
Yep.
I'm as free as a bird.
Yep. You said it's time to travel now.
Yeah.
When it comes to I know you said you have some budgets that are like Biltmore type budgets
Right.
versus smaller. When it comes to hiring a planner, how does the couple think budget needs to go into it? So it's like, I guess, what's your starting price and what's like something that would go much
On
higher
my
than that?
website are my prices, but I will tell my bride and groom that after a consultation, I will tailor my pricing to your needs. If you need me from start to finish, if you need me to tour venues with you, if you need me to, to suggest venues, if you need me to suggest all the vendors, my favorite vendors, the ones I love to work with, then you're going to pay a higher price.
Yeah.
And I would say in the $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 range.
Yeah.
If by the time you come for a consultation, you have your venue and several of your vendors, then I will lower that price.
Yeah.
To probably about half of that. A lot of people ask for day of coordination, and certainly I'm going to do day of coordination. However, it's never really day of coordination.
Yeah.
I at least would like to do month of coordination.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that I can as thoroughly wrap my brain around your vision in a week before your wedding. Brides have questions all along. Oh, well, you're my planner, but you're my planner for only 6 months out. Or you're my planner for a month out, or you're just my day of planner. If we're 6 months out and you've only hired me for day of, they're still asking questions all along.
Yeah.
And so then if you start to think about the amount of hours that I'm putting in, it's not cost efficient for me.
Yeah.
So you would rather full-blown plan the wedding than just do the day of coordinating?
100%. And I will tell you, and this may be a little extra for me, but I like to be hands-on. Brides are constantly collecting things, and I'm like, can you just have a room that you put all these things in? Don't have them everywhere, just kind of organize your decor or, whatever you want for your vision to come to life. And I love to use a Rubbermaid container. I love to use a clear Rubbermaid container where I can see what's in it, and I want you to label it. And if I am deeply involved in your table decor, then each table or two tables together have their own bin that I have. These all go with the tables. These table numbers right here. And the napkins. I mean, if you've got me for day of and you want me to do something with the napkins, I'm sorry, but I want your napkins.
Yeah.
While I'm watching TV at night, I can fold your napkins and do them in sets of 8. And so it just makes the flow of the day go much easier, especially if you have a flip.
Yeah.
If the ceremony site is the same place that the reception's going to be, and I've got a flip while you're in cocktail hour, I need to be as organized and as efficient as I can be.
Yeah.
And doing that day of, that doesn't make me be a good planner if I've shown up and here's your stuff.
And now you just have to rush,
and I've got to figure out
Mm-hmm.
if you've not communicated that to me, because I'm not one of those planners that while the bride's getting ready in hair and makeup, other than to make sure that they have eaten, I'm not, where does this go? What is this? It's just the kind of thing where I've done this long enough that I can kind of figure it out. It's just nice to have details.
Yeah.
So when you get a new client, what is usually your order of operations as far as booking your vendors? So you get a client, you're out to the wedding, they ask you, what vendors should I book, and what is your suggested order of booking those vendors?
Yeah. Well, venue's always number one for me.
That's
100%. We agree.
Yeah, we agree.
Photographer is very important for me because that's going to document your day.
Yeah.
Food, music, all of those are important to me from the very beginning. Florals.
Yeah.
And it's not unusual for people to be booking, especially if you're getting married in the fall or the spring. These vendors, this even happened with my son's wedding. He got married in the pandemic, and I'm doing this business. I had caterers, these are my top 3 caterers, but because of COVID and because of not being able to get the serving staff, they wouldn't come to me in rural North Carolina. So, having lived through that myself, let's book as many of these as we can, but venue and photographer, I would say, would be my top. If your venue doesn't have catering, then let's get a caterer and let's get your music.
Okay.
So.
And most of the time, are you seeing from a planner perspective people coming in with a timeline, or do you typically help them create it from scratch and then they give it to the rest of their vendors?
Okay, so I do create the timeline. Some brides, a lot of the younger brides, they're really into their computer, they're really into Google Sheets and all that kind of thing. And so they come to me and say, here's my stuff. I have a program called Aisle Planner. And so my first thing, once I book my bride, I usually will add the bride, the groom, and the mother of the bride. And then if they've got vendors already, I'll add those in. My program does your guest list.
Oh, that's cool.
It does your budget. It does your table layout. I can do all that for you. Once you've got your guest list in and all your RSVPs, and then you start to say, okay, these are the people that are going to sit at each table, then I can take your guest list and the tables, and I can put it in there so that when I roll up on the property, I can also give it to the venue coordinator. Everybody knows who's sitting where, and I... Usually 2 weeks out from my event, I'm calling every vendor.
Yeah.
I'm the planner, here's my numbers, here's my email, here's the layout, here's the timeline. And then I, just because I'm a little old school, I will print my timeline on cardstock.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it goes in the bride's room, it goes in the groom's prep room, it's sent electronically to the bride and groom so they can then send it electronically to, their bridal party. All my vendors have it. I try to give a hard copy to my DJ, when I arrive, just because sometimes especially in the place where I live and I do weddings at vineyards and stuff, Wi-Fi is not always a thing.
Option.
Yeah.
And I also roll with a notebook.
Yeah.
And my notebook has my timeline pictures.
Yeah.
Of what tables are supposed to look like. It's got the layout. It has the wedding party's names. It just has a lot of information in it, so that when my team, my cousins, what I call my sister cousins, they come in with me. If we don't have Wi-Fi, then my notebook is laying on the table, there as we're prepping, with a clipboard. They all have their own clipboards with the timeline on it and different things in it that they might need. But once we start unboxing all of the Rubbermaid containers or whatever storage vessel we're using, they can look and say, oh, this is what the table centerpiece looks like. This is what the napkins, this is where the votive cups go. Everything is clear, cut and dry, so that if something, if I were to come down with some virus or something and couldn't come to the wedding, then my team has the tools that they need.
Yeah.
And I will say to that as well, I have several planners that I network with because I'm not in this business to compete with other planners or vendors. I am in this business to uplift people.
It's enough business out there for all of us.
There really
100%.
is. Everyone can eat.
And I have planners that I trust implicitly. They know how I work, and if something were to happen, a family emergency or an event that I needed to be not present, then my team and another planner that I hand my information off to, they can run my show as good as I.
Yeah, it's always nice to have that backup.
Now I know, as we're vendors, especially myself and DJ. Usually they're live at events. We worked a couple events together, and I don't quite remember, but do you, when sending out your day of timeline to the other vendors, make a more simplified version? Because I know, like myself, I hate getting planning forms or day of timelines with all the unnecessary stuff that I don't necessarily need to know as the DJ or even the catering team, etc. So do you make a simple version to send out to vendors, or do you typically just send them out what you're using?
I do try to simplify. My daughter has been very instrumental in telling me, Mom, you don't need to give all this information. You know, some people will get, you know, right down to, okay, here's my hair and makeup, and this is whose appointments. I know you don't need that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I also see the timelines that come in, and I like the details. I think it depends on who you are.
And you know, it's good for you to say that to me, because I certainly could be a little more concise, you know, depending on what my vendor is that I'm sending. So I certainly, it's not that hard to do. It's a matter of, you know, deleting and then reprinting or converting it to a PDF. So certainly appreciate that information, and there are some people that get every little detail right down to you know
what time you arrive.
And so, but
that's awesome. What would you say is the most rewarding part after like a wedding and all of that work has come to be at the end of the day?
Couple things. I'm not really a crier, but I am finding myself, when the reception area or the ceremony site is set up and I can see that the bride's vision has come to life, I sometimes get a little teary about that. And that's rewarding to me because, number one, that means I listened to my bride. It means that my vendors listened to my bride, and everybody wants to be listened to. Everybody wants to be heard. And so that is an important thing for me. And then at the end of the night, when I go to hug my bride and groom goodbye, because a lot of times they're at venues where they're staying on site, there have been some unexpected compliments for me. I had one bride and groom say to me when I came to tell them goodbye, she said, "We were just talking about you in our last dance." And I'm like, "What? Why are you talking about me in your last dance?" And she said, "This was the perfect day, and this is what you gave us."
Oh, lovely.
So that's a good moment for me. You know, it's, you know, obviously everybody's in this business to make money. I have the luxury of it not being my main source of income. And so I like to think of myself as the fairy godmother that makes dreams come true.
Yeah.
I love that.
So when it comes to the event, right, you know, DJs and day of planners, some kind of butt heads, right, because we're both trying to theoretically do the same thing.
Right.
How do you feel about a DJ being hands-on? Do you prefer for the DJ to be less hands-on with the couple and let you run the show, or are you perfectly fine, and to a degree, if the DJ is doing it right, prefer the DJ to be almost as hands-on as you with kind of guiding the day?
I want the DJ to be as hands-on as me, because I have set the stage for the party. You bring the party.
Yeah.
And I was telling Hannah earlier, once I get the first dance done and the bride and groom sat down and, you know, all of them taken care of and fed and dishes cleared and it's time to party, in my mind, you're in charge.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that if I see a bride and groom, you know, sometimes they're just ready to go.
Yeah.
If I see that, then I might whisper in your ear, they're ready to go, or, you know, can we do a last song, or I know this is early and it doesn't follow the timeline, but, you know, can you do a last call for me? You know, that kind of thing. other than that, I'm going to try not to bother you.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been times where, especially if they're my soccer team, Mama Jill needs to be on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So, now that doesn't mean that I'm not watching that somebody's overserved over here, and I need to speak to my bartender not to serve this person anymore. But I want to see the happiness. I want to be watching for people. Grandparents sometimes, they get weary of our loud music and stuff like that. And if I've got a lounge area or somewhere that I can move them that's a little climb, I want to be able to oversee the happiness.
Yes.
If I see somebody with, a not happy face, then I need to go to them. And I want you to play the music. I want you to bring the party. I love it. It was Carlin and Ryan's wedding that you all did, and the young gentleman I do not know who was with you, he was in the middle of the dance floor with the cameras all around, and that was the first wedding that you and I had done together where you had the new screen.
Yeah, the video booth.
And we put the little cards on the napkins, and so people could take pictures and then upload them for the QR code. And then to watch people on the dance floor say, "Oh, I took that picture."
Yeah.
That is the kind of party I want.
Right.
That is the kind of, you do all this planning and everything for the wedding, and they're married now. Let's party. Let's celebrate. That's the kind of, I don't want to be, you do your job, I'm finished with mine.
Yep.
You're in charge.
Exactly. And I would say that's one thing I love with working with you is we work as a team rather than like you're my boss and I'm your employee.
No, it doesn't. Everybody is a part of the wheel of this beautiful day. And the wheel doesn't go if we don't all work together. And there's, I've had some people say to me, this is not a good situation. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
I'm here to have fun.
Yep.
I'm here to meet new people. I am here to, get to know vendors that end up being good friends.
Yeah. I mean, like us, we did a style shoot together, and now we work together all the time. But that, to us, is very important as well. Like, we're even doing training with all of our assistants to learn to work in unison, because like, if your job is done, reception's set, you've got everything good to go, and the planner's scrambling and they need napkins folded and put it on there, go offer help. We're on the same team.
Yes.
It's not just Jill's job, it's not just our job, because they would do the same in return.
Right.
And that's one thing we definitely take pride in. Like, if there's a room swap and, our booth and DJ setup is already good to go, but we got to move chairs from over here to there.
Let's move
We're
the chairs.
helping moving chairs over, because it's just going to make the day go smoother for everybody.
Exactly. And that is so appreciated. It is so appreciated. I try to do the same. I work with a vendor who rolls in with china and old glassware and stuff like that, and she comes with a team. But if you're doing a flip or you want to get out at the end of the night, you don't want to be there an hour and a half or 2 hours after the wedding. If my team is just standing around while everybody's dancing and y'all are DJing, there's no reason why my team can't
help.
It just makes it, and it makes vendors a pleasure to work with.
It does.
Exactly.
100%. Is there anything that you would say in those moments you've had to save while a couple didn't notice? Like, what's something that happens at a wedding that, like, not necessarily the couple noticed, but you had to save to keep the couple from noticing?
I can tell you a couple things that I probably don't want to tell you about. I have had some people to be sick that needed to be taken out from the ceremony, and that has been done unbeknownst to the bride and groom. A storm came and decor was out at the ceremony site, and the bride and groom were already in the barn, and my team was getting decor from under a tree at a farm with lightning striking.
Oh my!
So I have done that.
Had to save the day a few times.
So there are a lot of instances, not all of them I would like to share.
No, that makes sense. what makes you excited to like share a couple to a vendor? Like if in that situation when you're saving things or just you've met people, what makes you want to recommend someone?
Well, number one, the fact that I love to work with that vendor would be, you know, when you put together a great vendor team, you're already excited to do the wedding. Sometimes it has to do with the vision of the bride and groom. The wedding that I'm specifically working on right this minute, which is an October wedding, has a Gatsby theme to it. And the bride had a specific vision for the cake. And so immediately I knew what cake vendor to recommend because of the artistic nature of this vendor. Caterers, for me, it's the food.
Does it taste good?
Food and budget, probably,
and
right?
I have a couple of caterers that you take the first bite and it's one flavor, but as the flavors and the spices or the whatever they've done because I am not a cook, whatever they've done just makes the meal come to life for me. And people are most happy when the food is good, the alcohol is flowing, and the music's fabulous.
Yeah.
You know, they love the decor and everything like that, but they are here to have fun and eat good food and be with their friends. So those are the kind of things that make me recommend a vendor.
Kind of speaking on a themed wedding per se, do you love a theme or do you love a trend? Like, are those your favorite types of weddings? Or
more traditional?
Yeah.
You know, but from our style shoot, I love a good Ralph Lauren traditional kind of. However, I do love a good theme.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't, I have been asked early on by a vineyard in my area to be their coordinator. And I don't mind doing weddings there. It's a beautiful vineyard and everything. But, you know, for somebody with ADHD, I don't want to do the same wedding every weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I love a good theme. I love a different venue. I love, you know, just researching and investigating and providing ideas, you know, for my bride and groom. And I like to include the groom.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like sometimes the bride, it's more focused on the bride, but on the day of the wedding, let's have some cool things that the groom does. If it's a late evening wedding, we've done skeet shooting in the morning before. I love it when a venue has a good pool table because I love to play pool. You know, I've had groom and the groomsmen around the pond fishing, you know, and you just have all the things that they need there to just sit and just relax, you know, while hair and makeup is being done.
Yeah.
You know, I love a good theme. I love to work at different venues, and I don't do many weddings a year because I want to be so detailed.
Yeah.
About every little thing. This wedding that I'm working on again, she wants macarons.
Yeah.
And macarons are lots of different colors, but it doesn't go with my Gatsby theme.
Yeah.
So I was able to recommend a vendor who got what I was talking about, that I want to gold and gild everything, but the flavor would be the filling, not the exterior
casing.
would be, you know, more of a Gatsby gold embellished with pearls or something like that.
Yeah.
So I love doing stuff like that.
So you're more into weddings for the customization aspect of it rather than just being a day of planner.
Yeah,
to
I
a
really love
degree.
design. I really love designing it.
I think that's what you know makes our industry fun, because I feel like that's one thing we harp over here on is we want to customize the experience. We don't just want to come in and necessarily do a basic experience, right? Yeah.
What would you say is one investment a couple never regrets?
Photography for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Or you can also flip it and say, what do they what's an investment they could typically go without after the wedding?
Favors.
Favors.
I cannot tell you how many times I have stood as people have exited and handed out a favor. Take these home,
Yeah.
So favors for sure.
I do have one favor that we use from a couple, from you, Cecilia and Alex. Every time their shot glasses are in, they gave us shot glasses.
That is a great idea.
So I was like, the shot glass is great. I still use theirs.
Yeah.
See, I think favor it just depends on what's the
What
kind.
it
If
is.
it's just like a card or something.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Huge waste of money.
Yeah.
Like what we did for our wedding is we did blankets.
Yes.
And like
Yeah.
towels.
Yeah.
People ain't
Well,
gonna
they were
really
beach
get.
towels because it was a beach wedding. But
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
People would keep a towel.
people keep it down.
But like a little piece of paper, yeah. Is there, do you got a 2 and a 3 for that list? So we got favors at 1. What's probably the other 2 things you would say you would probably regret or be okay without?
One of my biggest regrets is not having a plan for the florals. Florals is a huge expense.
It is.
They're beautiful. I'm a huge proponent of a live flower. I do love a live flower. But there are a lot of times at the end of the night that those florals get thrown away. So my advice to a couple is to, make a plan for those florals. If the centerpieces are in a vessel that is not borrowed or rented, send them home with your favorite people, your grandmother, your aunt, or something like that. A trend that I saw recently, the plastic containers that you can usually freeze soups or something in.
Okay.
Just get a bunch of those, and then as you're dismantling the florals, you can put them in there and then send those home with people. Then they can arrange them in the house where you can take them to assisted livings.
I was going to say that.
That
Tax
is,
write-off.
that is, and sometimes these flowers will live if you water them and do properly. They'll live a week or so.
Yeah.
My last wedding, I used the florals from the wedding because they were my vessels that they were using. I used them 4 times, for different events that I was doing, senior citizen related that I do at church. So florals is another thing. Depends on what your budget is.
Yeah.
If your budget is tight, don't go overboard with expenses.
Yeah.
I mean, music is important. Food is important. There are cost-efficient ways that you can pare down your budget that nobody's going to notice, and it'll be equally as beautiful.
Yeah.
When it comes to florals, I guess because I'm genuinely curious, I'm sure there's people out there curious as well, but is the planner creating the design behind it, or is that typically like a combination with the florist, or is it all the florist? What's that typically look like?
It's a combination, usually. And I find that it's best to, I love to go in the cooler at a florist.
I love to go in there.
I mean, I just love to go in there to see all the flowers that are an option. If my bride has given me a vision, then I need to see the florals that we might recommend for her centerpieces. Most recently, I went to interview a florist with my bride and her mother, and we sat in the middle of the florist shop. And then she took us in the back to the cooler and to the storage place where she had her vessels, different vases, and she understood our vision and gave us options. So I feel like, it's the bride talking to the planner, getting pictures and everything ready before you go to the florist to interview them, and everybody's got a good vision. And because we did that, we had the pictures, we had the ideas, we gave her the background, then the florist was able to take us to the back and pull different vessels, pull different flowers. She even showed us, because we wanted all white flowers but with some butter yellow. She took a rose, and this is just something I've learned over time, that florists will take the rose, a stem of rose, and they'll roll it back and forth so that the rose will open up a little bit. Well, this particular florist, in the very center, after she'd done that, she took out about 5 petals It was a yellow center, which gave us the butter yellow that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it is, it's a collaboration
Yeah.
to get the bride's vision.
So do you feel, would you recommend a client get a cheaper venue and no floral, or with florals, or a more expensive venue with no florals? I mean, because I feel like, you know, the amount that florals cost, you could potentially get a nicer venue where you don't need necessarily
100%.
florals.
And a lot of venues, when they're more expensive, Biltmore is a good example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Biltmore, I had to use their chairs, I had to use their goblets, I had to use their china, their flatware, their tablecloths. I had to use all of that.
And that's a have to. Like,
Yeah,
you can't rent
yeah,
out.
that
Okay.
was a have to. And in that particular instance, we had a nicer venue,
Yeah.
and it was kind of an all-inclusive thing. They did the catering and everything, but the bride wanted no florals, and she wanted a U-shaped table.
Yeah.
We did black linens
Mm-hmm.
with 200 glass cylinders with candles
Inside instead.
inside. Biltmore had to turn off the sprinkler system
Yeah.
because the heat from
The
and up
candle.
the air condition
Yeah.
because the heat from those 200 flames
Yeah.
would have set off the sprinkler system. So that is an instance where
Yeah.
you could get a higher end
Venue.
venue
Mm-hmm.
and cut back on your florals and go with candlelight.
Yeah.
I think that leads us into a good spot for a hot take section. So in this section, I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, and you're just going to say which one you prefer.
Okay,
Indoor or outdoor ceremony?
outdoor,
Ballroom or barn reception?
ballroom,
Modern or timeless?
timeless.
Black tie or garden party?
I am always black tie.
Spring or fall?
Spring,
Mountains or beach?
beach, always.
Neutral colors or bold colors?
Bold.
Large weddings or intimate weddings?
I love an intimate wedding.
Detailed timeline or go with the flow?
Detail.
I was going to say, we already knew the answer to that one.
Live band or DJ?
You know what? I like them both, and I specifically love that you all, and I thank Rick every day for inviting me to the vendor event out at Legacy. And I got to see the first time the saxophone and the keyboard and with the DJ. I love that.
The both
I love
come in.
it because, and I love a good band. I love horns and everything, but I love both.
Yeah, I like the best of both worlds because it gives you the no breaks. Like
Yeah.
the DJ can go and the saxophone can eat lunch or
Right.
do whatever.
Right.
But yeah, is there any hot takes you wanted to ask before we jump into the next question?
No.
You an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
What is your ideal open dance floor time?
Oh, that's a good question.
I love it when as soon as the music starts, the dance floor is full
Okay.
immediately. I have seen a couple of things where the DJ, it's more like a, they ask a question and they have to respond and get
By
out on
going.
the dance floor,
Mhm.
like the couple that's been married the longest.
Yeah.
Or mothers and sons. Like if it's the father-daughter dance, then you ask all the fathers to come with it. I just want the dance floor full all the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything that you all can do to make, it's time. Let's dance.
Yeah, another working as a team moment, we've done the group shots before where we're like, let's get the photographer, do a group shot, and
Love
then
that.
boom, bust the dance floor open.
Yeah. Love that too. Love anything that you can do to. I just hate for people just to be sitting there watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want. Let's go. Let's go.
I agree. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen at a wedding?
This was a July wedding in an outdoor. Well, it was an enclosed venue, but no air conditioned, and we had those big fans going, and I made them go all day long because I just needed the air to flow, And Tom Ford is a designer, and he does the very tailored suits where the pants are tied and a little high at the end. And it was hot that day. And so I had 12 groomsmen that were football players.
Yeah.
Either they played football in high school or in college with the groom. And they're in these beautiful tailored suits, but it's hot as blazes.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the night, I noticed a groomsman over there adjusting himself with his suit. And his girlfriend or wife was sheltering him a little bit. And I went over there and said, honey, what is going on?
Yeah.
I have got an air-conditioned room back here where you got ready. Let's go fix ourselves. These pants are too tight. I've battled with them all night long. I was like, I understand.
Yeah.
So that was an unexpected thing for me, that just right in the middle of where the tables were, that he would feel the need to
adjust themselves.
Right.
What do you do in a wedding when your timeline kind of falls apart? Not necessarily falls apart, but doesn't go to plan. Like,
yeah, I don't
Something
get that's not a bother to me.
Yeah.
We're here to get married. You know, one of the best examples I can give, and this was out in rural Stokes County at a camp, but it had an old hotel out there, and so we were out there all weekends, like 10 rooms in the hotel, and the parking was a little bit away, and this was a barn wedding and everything, and we had tractors bringing on hay rides the guests from parking, and the bride had told me, if there are people still coming, we will hold the wedding. And so, my DJ and I were in each other's ears, and I was saying, we've got another hayride coming through. You just adjust.
Yeah.
There, sometimes brides need a moment. Her vision is coming to life.
yeah.
It's a little overwhelming. And if I needed to delay for my bride to enjoy her moment, then that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
If, anything can go wrong. You just have to be able to pivot. You have to be flexible. You have to not get, you just can't be so rigid in the timeline that you can't adjust in order to make the day flow properly.
Yeah.
I've had a bride be overserved.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have to, actually.
Yeah.
So-
I've had a wedding where the bride was in the bathroom puking her brains out
Right.
before. So
Yeah,
like,
so you've got to pivot your timeline.
Yeah.
You've got to.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you don't want them going out there at the first dance with too much to drink.
right. That's right. That's why I'm constantly, have you eaten? I'm even asking my vendors. I roll with a cooler full of drinks and snacks.
Yeah.
You
know-
were constantly asking if we were eating just on the style shoot.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah.
did you eat? Are you eating?
Yeah, I can feed you easier than I can get you up off the floor.
Yeah.
And you have great snacks, so
Thank you.
I love a Hillshire. That
Yeah.
made my day.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Do you have any questions before we wrap it up?
I guess what is your maybe top 2 to 3 advice for a client and why they maybe need a planner when booking a planner, anything along those lines?
A couple of things. On the day of your wedding, I don't want you to do anything but show up and get ready. Carlin and Ryan's wedding that we did together, there was laughter coming out of the bride's room all morning long, all day long.
Yeah.
I've achieved my goal.
Yeah.
She's not worried about anything. I am implementing everything, and then I love to do a first look.
Yeah.
Come and look. If something's not right, tell me. You don't need to worry about my feelings. I got married a long time ago. My wedding was exactly like I wanted to be. This is your wedding.
Yeah.
I need you to let go and let me make your vision come to life.
Yeah. So pretty much somebody to ease your pain throughout the planning process.
Right, exactly. And, I was telling Hannah earlier, don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
You got a lot of information coming at you. it's overwhelming. I see that at vendor events that I do with brides coming through. You know, you can just see the deer in the headlights. Look, you know, don't think you got to make all your decisions right this minute. Don't think that, you know, you have to do all the things. Think about what makes you happy and let me implement that. And I've had several brides say to me, because I can see them. I can see it before they've ever said a word that they are, you know, about to spin out. You know, if I'm asking too many questions, say I need a minute. Or can we talk about this next week? You know, and they have life going on. One of my brides right now is taking tests for her job. You know, and she just recently passed this test. And I was like, I'm so glad you passed that test because I have to tell you all the things. You know,
I have so many questions.
I've been holding back, you know, information because I knew, you know, her life was happening in addition to this wedding. So, you know.
Now, I don't know if you answered this earlier, but you mentioned that you worked in financial. Do you usually pitch maybe being a financial advisor to your couples?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. In order, and this is why I didn't do this officially for a long time, because I didn't think that my manager would approve. Now, I coordinate all the office events. You know, if we have a client event or something, I handle all of that, the catering, the wine choices, all of that. And when my daughter said, "Mom, you've got to do this officially. You're really good at this. You need to do this." I went in his office and said, you know, I want to open officially with an LLC my own event planning business. And he's like, "I think you should do that." And I was like, what?
Not the response you were expecting.
Now, I had to go all the way up the chain for corporate to get everything approved. I had to answer a ton of questions, had to give my articles of incorporation, everything. And to me, that's work. And that pays the bills. And this is my dream. You know, and the two do not mix. I can't, you know, I think that from a compliance standpoint would not be a good thing, you know, for me to do. So, you know, goal is one day that I just do this. And because I've been in finance for over 30 years, you know, this is my fun. This is where I feel uplifted. I have friends and vendors, and you know, it's just a network that I really enjoy.
The reason I asked that question was because I was thinking, you know, we recently just got married, and if we maybe would have got with a financial advisor beforehand, right? And if she was also planning the wedding, you know, it's kind of a twofold ordeal to help us. All right, this is what we're going to be looking like through the wedding, and then also into the honeymoon phase. So I just thought it was like maybe a cool concept, but I definitely see the conflict of interest there.
Such it is actually, and actually, as my role on my team is more of an implementation of the plan that someone else has implemented. Then I'll do the trades or customer service with my clients and stuff like that. I mean, I have all the licenses and everything that they have. It's just not what I choose. It's not my favorite thing. I would trade all day long. The traders on the floor in New York, you know, they want you to hurry with, and most of the things are done electronically, but way back in the day, you had to call and say, "This is Jill, and I'm doing a buy or sell," and they'd pull a ticket. And, you know, they want you to do it fast until they hear my southern drawl. Like, "Oh, it's Jill in North Carolina." So, anyway, I do not mix them at all, other than I do event planning for my job, my day job. But I do not mix them at all. Now, I will give you, if you say to me, "I can't afford a florist bill this high," then I will give you some cost efficient ways to do it. You know, some people have a budget where, you know, the floral bill is, you know, the amount of money that would be to redo your bathroom. Do you want to redo your bathroom, or do you want florals that I'm going to throw away, that I possibly could throw away at the end of the night? I mean, you know, I'm here to give advice for this is a moment in time and this is reality.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Is there anything that we did not ask you that you'd want to share with the audience before?
I can't think of anything. I just really love for the brides or anybody. It can be a retirement party or I just recently did an autism luau.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I do that pro bono. And this young mom has an 8-year-old that is nonverbal. And, you know, her job is 24/7, 365. And she is a realtor. She's trying to do. And I watch her with these other autistic children. And I love making that vision come to life. And she can't do that by herself.
Yeah.
And I can do that for her.
That's awesome. Well, Jill, where can everyone find you online?
www.CandaceJill.com. Also, Events by Candace Jill on Instagram.
Awesome.
And I love to post all the time. I constantly am sharing my vendors. I love my vendors and love working with y'all especially.
Thank you.
Thank you. Make sure you follow Jill and comment below any questions that you have. And we will see you on the next episode of the FSL Vendor Podcast.